All right, we're live. We're live.
We're live. What's up, guys? What are we talking about today, dude?
Today we're talking about the hips. And can you tell us what Shakira said?
He said hips don't lie.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do not lie. And so we're going to start off right that. So first things first, we're going to talk about the ilium. You want to take it away?
Yeah, the ilium is one of the three bones that makes up our hip. So the ilium is going to be these two broad bones right here. And there are multiple parts of the ilium that you need to know. First is the sacroiliac joint. That's going to be this joint right here and right here. So that's the joint between the ilium and the sacrum, sacroiliac joint. And next we have the iliac crest. These are the tops of our ilium. That's what you can feel when you touch the sides of your hips. And that's it for iliac crest.
Awesome.
Next, we're going to learn about the ischium.
All right.
What's the ischium?
Oh, that's a fantastic way to pronounce it. I just realized
Or
I was saying it right.
ischium.
Awesome. Multiple ways.
I hear both.
So we can start off. So your ischium is going to be right here on the bottom. This is the inferior to the iliac region, or the ilium region. So starting off, we can start with the ischial tuberosity, and that's going to be right here. And you can see that bumpy protuberance right there. And then next what we can talk about is the ischial spine. And next thing, right here, that little pokey guy. Right there. Awesome. And then the last two, we have the ischial ramus and obturator foramen.
Obturator.
Ooh, awesome. So we have the ramus, and a ramus, just like your mandibular ramus, is going to be just right here. So it's going to be following the tuberosity, going such and that. And then finally, the obturator foramen, and that's just this hole right there. Awesome. And that's the ischium.
Ischium.
It's up to you.
Who knows?
And then you want to take it away with the pubis?
The pubis. I love me some pubis. So pubis is going to be this front part, this top and front part of your hips, so the anterior part of your hips. And we got multiple sections. We got the pubic symphysis right here, this little cartilage piece that connects our two pubic bones. Remember, it's made up of fibrocartilage. You should know that from last unit. We also got the pubic ramus, and there's technically two parts, or two pubic rami, if I may. So there's this superior one, which is right here, this little bar of bone here, and then this section, so it's cut in half here, where you have ischial ramus, and then pubic ramus is this half. So pubic ramus, and then we have the pubic arch, which is this arch. Ooh, hard to do it back. This arch that forms when both of the pubic bones are connected together.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
That's a new meaning on the golden arches.
Yeah. What's next?
And so next what we have is the acetabulum, or another way to say it is
acetabulum.
Absolutely. He's absolutely right. And that's just going to be right here. And can you show what articulates right there?
Other one. Other side. Bam!
Boom. Look at that. That's a femur.
Femur. Look at that. Goes right in. And what kind of joint is that?
It's a synovium.
Yeah. Specifically a ball and socket joint.
Absolutely. And what axis is that?
Multi-axis.
Absolutely. A ton of range.
Multi-axis.
Look, I can kick forward, I can go backwards, I can go side to side. Look at that. Just a
Bam.
perfect, absolutely fantastic joint.
Damn. Works wonders.
And then while you have that in your hand,
Whoa, I have that in my hand. We're going to go over some femur. So the bone makes up our thighs. We have multiple parts that are relevant. This is the head of the femur, the ball for the ball and socket joint. Lateral to the head is the neck. And then we have two trochanters. The trochanters are going to be some good muscle attachments for your thigh and gluteal muscles. And so we have two. This big one that is superior or proximal on the femur is going to be the greater trochanter. And then the smaller one that is more distal or inferior is going to be the lesser trochanter. Then we have two features that are on the posterior side of the femur. So going on the back side of the femur, we have this line right here that goes down the shaft of the femur. This is our linea aspera. And then we got this rough part that you can see on towards proximal end of the femur, and that's going to be our gluteal tuberosity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just to kind of finalize, can you hold up your hip? Let's just make a difference between this.
No, sorry.
Can you tell us the difference between which one's the male and which one's the female?
Ooh, great question. That's a great question. So I believe this is the male. I believe I'm holding the male and you're holding the female.
I am, absolutely.
How did we differentiate?
So one way to remember that is that the male is going to be a lot more tall. If you if you hold these up to each other, this one's going to be a lot taller on the ilium part. And then another way to remember it is that these are more broad, right here. So these are just nice and broad, and that's just more for like childbearing or for birth.
Yeah, good for birthing. Mm-hmm. Two more features that are useful for distinguishing between male and females is looking at the pubic arch here. So the males are going to have a more V-shaped pubic arch. The females are going to have a more U-shaped pubic arch. And then lastly, males also, if I can get a good view, let's turn them around.
Absolutely.
The males are also going to have a longer coccyx than the females. They're going to have shorter coccyges. Is the plural for coccyx.
Wow.
It's a good,
look at that.
Good trivia question. If you need something that rhymes with sausages, coccyges is your word.
Fantastic.
So next we're going to talk about point out a couple of hip ligaments. Would you like to
absolutely.
share?
So the first thing that we have is your acetabular. Acetabular. I cannot say that word for the life of me. Just absolutely absurd. As long as you can spell it, it's fine by me. So the labrum is going to be this one, and as you can see, it's really just kind of like a circle right there. It's circumferencing right along this part right there. If you can see, I guess this is just the best part to look at right there. And then to compound on that, we have the round ligament or the ligamentum teres. And you can see it right here. So we're looking at it, turning it. There it is. There's your ligamentum teres right in there.
Yeah, and that's going to be a ligament that is going to connect to this little pit on the head of the femur and will articulate into the acetabulum.
Absolutely. Next, what we have is we're just going to go over a couple more things with the femur and with the pelvis, I guess. And so to starting on that, we can talk about the iliac spine and the ischial tuberosity. If you'd like to point those out really quick.
Yeah. So those are going to be, if you look at the side of, remember this is your ilium, you have these two points right here. You can actually feel that when you touch like the front of your hips. So that's what you're touching is your iliac spines. And you have two of them on each side, these two here.
Absolutely. And then just to keep going on the femur, I bet you're tired of this already, but we're just going to keep going. So we're going to turn this around just like this, and we're going to find out where the condyles are. So if we look right here, this is articulating right there. So you can find, well, if this is going right here and it goes medially, well, this has to be my right femur. So we can look at that, we turn it around. So we just look at here, wherever your ball is, or your head, this is your medial condyle, your lateral condyle, and your epicondyles are distal to those, or what would you say?
Lateral.
I guess lateral, yeah. And to compound that, perfect. We have a lateral epicondyle right next to the lateral condyle, so your lateral epicondyle and your medial epicondyle. And then in between, it's a hole, it's a pit. What's that? Intercondylar fossa. Look at that. And then, so your kneecap, let's see, we're going to be using this model in a little bit, but your patella is this guy right there, just that little bone right there. And do we have one handy?
Little triangle-ish shaped bone, so that's going to be our kneecap. And to figure out which patella goes onto which leg, which knee, a good little trick is if you hold this, the pointed part away from you, and then you hold this above a flat surface, the side that the patella is going to fall down on is going to be the leg that it belongs to. So let's do this little experiment. All right, so falls on this side, and so it's going to be on your right knee.
Absolutely. Start off with the tibia. Do you want to take it away?
Yeah, let's do the tibs. All right. So we got a tibial tuberosity. This is going to be this bump right here on the anterior and proximal end of the tibia. We got 2 condyles, which are going to be these 2 right here. And so the side that's going to be projecting out is going to be proximal, or no, medial. Yeah, it's technically proximal as well. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So the side that's sticking out the most is going to be medial, and you can actually feel that when you like feel the inside of your knees compared to the outside of your knees. So this is medial, the medial condyle, and lateral condyle. And then we have, if we look at the superior or proximal part of the tibia, you can see these little bumpy part right here. This is going to be your intercondylar eminence. And then we have these flat surfaces here that are your articular surfaces. And so that's going to be where, bam, would you look at that?
Look at that. They articulate.
Who would have thought?
And then would you like to point out the head on this fibula?
Fibula. So the head of the fibula, so you have 2 ends of the fibula. One, to me, kind of looks like a boot, and the other is more like kind of like square-shaped. And the square-shaped part is going to be the head of the fibula, and that's going to be the proximal or superior part of the fibula. And the way that, if you're wanting to articulate these 2 together, what I usually do is I take the boot and I face it towards me and make sure that the head is sticking up. And I'm going to connect like this. There's like this flat surface on the head here. Side, right? Yeah, the lateral side of the tibia. And they go together just like that. Boom, boom. So tibia is medial, fibula is lateral. So what leg is this going to be?
Well, if we're looking at it, so you can always find out with the medial side. So your medial is going towards your center part. So we're looking at that. Once again, it's our right leg. And then next what we can do is part 2, structural features of the knee. I'll take that. And so we have our knee tendon, which you saw earlier today. It even bends. It's a fancy model. We can start with the anterior cruciate ligament, also known as the ACL. So your anterior cruciate ligament, so we pull this aside. Your anterior is just going to be this front ligament right there that you can see. And then this white part right here, I'm just going to skip a couple, is your meniscus, and that's where the 2 connect. We can flip it around, see our posterior side, and this is your posterior cruciate ligament, or your PCL. And then finally, next we can talk about my favorite ligament, the lateral collateral ligament.
Why is that your favorite?
It just rolls off the tongue. Look at that. Lateral collateral. And so you can find it, so we have your tibia, and that's your most medial. So we look at our lateral side, your lateral collateral is going to be right there. And on the opposite side, our medial collateral ligament. Very unfortunate that it doesn't rhyme like the other one, but no one can be perfect.
No.
And so next we have your patellar tendon. So you can see your patella right there. Your tendon's going to hold that right there. And that's what allows you to bend.
Awesome. Wow.
Absolutely. And next what we can talk about is our ankle. So we have...
All right, and I got... Oh, we might
yeah.
as well go it off of that. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I could show both.
Sure.
So there's going to be two parts that are going to cover your ankle. So they're going to, one on the tibia and one on the fibula. They're going to surround your ankle. And these are your malleolus bones or bone features. There's a lateral malleolus that's going to be on the fibula because the fibula is on the lateral side. And then your medial malleolus, which is going to be on the end of the tibia because it's on your medial side. And so let's look at those. And so let's turn it around. This is going to be your medial malleolus of your tibia. And then that boot-shaped thing that I talked about, that's going to be the lateral malleolus of your fibula.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And what's interesting, it's like when you go to touch like your ankles, those two bumps on the side, you're actually touching your malleolus bone features and not like your ankle itself, your foot itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, you can just see those right there. I got really knobby ones, so I can definitely see them. Next, what we can talk about is your distal-tibiofibular joint, and if you want to point that out right there, I guess we'll face it towards them.
That's going to be this guy right here. So distal, because it's towards the end of your leg, and then tibia, fibula, distal tibiofibular joint.
Absolutely. And then finally, we can stop with the foot. I don't want to kick you. So we can have our talus, calcaneus, our metatarsals, and our phalanges. So everyone likes their phalanges. It's just like your fingers. It's going to be right here. With your metatarsals, going to be, just a refresher, your phalanges right here, your metatarsals right here, and they're going to just follow this right here. Then we have your calcaneus, which is right here. And fun fact, the reason why it is that is because calcium builds up in your heel, and that's why it's so strong. That's why it's based off of calcium.
Wow.
Yeah, look at that. Fun fact of the day. And then we also have your talus bone. Your talus bone is going to be right here. I believe I'm pointing in the right spot. There we go. There's your talus right there. And so if you fracture that, it's just a bad time.
Not good. Not a good time.
And then that is everything for exercise 10. So yeah, that was the lecture by Jacob and Dan.
Hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah, thank you.